Hello. So I hope you can hear this video. I do have my mic on now, but I did the entire video with no microphones, but hopefully my trusty iPhone volume is good enough. If not, pump up the volume. Hello, and welcome to Dreamcrafted Creations. My name is Debbie. I'm also known as Nana, and here I am again in my little corner of the world in YouTube, down in my craft room. And here is where I like to share all the things I'm making in my fiber art world, from knitting to crocheting to sewing, quilting, whatever I feel like dabbling in at the moment. But I feel like there's been a lot going on in my mind about trying to manage everything that I've acquired and want to get done and not let the whips get out of control. And if you've been following me, I have been doing the 12 cast-ons of 2026, which was inspired by Angela out of Yarn and Yarns, and I'll link that below. And so weekly, I like to bring you my update on that, which I will do right now. And then towards the end of the video, I'm going to discuss some more whips, but they're going to be in my sewing world. Some quilting I have on the under the sewing machine and need to finish. So if you're interested in all that, I hope you stick around. And if you like multi-crafteral channels and what people are sharing, then please subscribe. It helps me grow this channel, and that's what I'm here to do. And be with other crafters that like to do and share the same things I do, sewing, crocheting, and knitting. So this week I was pretty productive on one of my 12 cast-ons of 2026, and that is the Milton. Right here, I thought this was pretty spring-like, and hopefully it would move along. But I think this is going to be a lot more labor intensive than I thought. And I am going to put my glasses on. And the funny thing about the glasses is, I said it in one of my videos, I have very bad eyes since I was 4 or 5 years old. And I have readers to wear with contacts. I have contacts. If I don't have contacts, I have progressive glasses. Or just my bare eye, I can see really good closely, but I can't see far. So I have multiple pairs of glasses, and at this point, these are the only readers I can find, and I usually have about 4 or 5 pairs. So I thought they would show up in my craft room down here, but they haven't. So unrelated, but just thought I'd chat about it. So the Milton that I'm doing is with the La Biename yarn, and it's a beautiful, I would say like a dusty blue gray with purples going through. It really is just beautiful. I'm doing, it's every other rose in, I believe this is a merino and this is a mohair. Let me get my label so I know. So the yarn is the La Bien-Aimée, Paris, France, and the color, oh wait, not the color, what did we say? Merino Singles, 100% superwash merino, and the color is Sun Mist. So it is a merino, and it is still Sun Mist, and this is the 64% kid mohair and 36% silk. So it's, when I purchased this yarn, can you tell, I think it looked very blue to me, and knitting up, it's coming out, I mean, it's obviously the same colors, but it's coming out a little bit more gray than I thought. I thought it would be a little bit more blue, but I'm fine with it. So we started with this is like a a collar that goes all the way down the front, I believe. And it's a construction that I've never really done before, and I believe you have to trust the process on this one. So I believe I started here with the collar, and then, and don't mind me, I think I have an allergy. It's pretty cold down here, so my nose always gets a little like an allergy. But I don't believe I have a cold, but I am in New England and it's spring and there is just a lot of pollen going on. But yeah, we started on the right collar, then went to the left, and then I divided for the back and the fronts. Oh, we went from the right collar to the left collar to the shoulders to divide for the front and the backs. And then I did part of the right front in the armhole shaping, and the back was on. So this was where I did part of the front in the armhole shaping, and the armhole shaping is right here. So this is where the arm is going to go in, and this is the back. And now I'm going to repeat this on this side. So yeah, there's a lot of, and it came out at knit night the other night. Jerry said, I have to cut. And I said, what do you mean you have to cut? What's cut? And so it's not just an easy start from the top. It's all in one down to the bottom or from the bottom up. There is some cutting involved and attaching yarn and so forth. So like Roz said, looks like a little bit of a origami right now. But also like my pink, Never Too Late, that was a mohair too, and it was very small when I originally put it on. And this too, I'm trying to see if I can do it. It's hard to do it in the air. But this too looks pretty small. But I am doing the size 4, so I believe this will bloom. This will bloom, but it's a stripe pattern. I'm sure you can see that. So it's the mohair, then the merino, mohair, then the merino, and it's light, so it definitely would be very nice for the spring. But size 4 needles and thin yarn. So I think this is going to be and here it is so far, like if I can give you an idea. I think it's going to take a while because it's a long cardigan. But that, I got that far so far. And I'll start the other armhole and get to the left front. And hopefully I'll get to that this week. I did pick up. And so, wait, getting back to that. I'd like to get myself on a time management schedule. And if anyone out there does that so that they can keep up with their WIPs, or do you just wing it and go with whatever you feel like doing, or do you have a schedule of your projects? Maybe certain days you're doing it, maybe for this week. How do you manage all your WIPs, or even, when you're going to get to a project? I, in my mind, was thinking I was going to do Christmas in July, which I hope I can still do because I have this beautiful Advent. It's over there from Barrett Wool. And I want to do that in July, so I'll have it up for Christmas. Then I was thinking maybe, September socks, finish socks, or work on socks. But that's knitting and crocheting, and it's very portable for me and easy, so I'll just do that up in the kitchen when I'm having my coffee, or, at the end of the day, or if I'm working on the computer, and I can sit there and do a few rows here and there. But I also have the sewing, And if you're interested in what I sewed lately, go back to my last video and take a look at the silly goose, because I do like to sew dolls. But when we talk about WIPs, I also have a lot of sewing WIPs, and that being a few quilts. And I was thinking I would maybe allot a day to do my sewing, maybe a Saturday sewing day. So it's Saturday, and after I do this video, I wanted to kind of work on some of my sewing. And before I show you, let's not get off track here. The other one of my 12 cast-ons that I decided to pick back up and put on some type of schedule is my Quiet Sky quilt. And I know my nails are pretty fluorescent and out of the box for me. When I went to get my nails done, I wanted blue. I wanted something different. I didn't realize how dark it would be, but this is what I got, and this is what I have for about a week or two. And it's Marathon Monday coming up, and marathon here in Boston. The Boston Marathon is like this blue color in yellow, so I'll fit right in. I'll have to find a yellow shirt. And my son is running in that, so this will be a fun marathon to watch, and my nephew. But I am also going to have to figure out what I want to bring to knit, because there's a lot of waiting for them to come around to the spot you choose to be at. So I do have to bring some knitting there, and that's going to have to be something pretty mindless, because there'll be a lot of children around and people talking. So I have to figure that one out. I'll let you know. But what I finished this morning was one of the squares to the Quiet Sky, and let me tell you a little bit about this. It took me a little while. I had the middle square done. It's in a previous video when I was showing the 12 cast-ons I was doing, and I said, you know, there's 25 squares. And I counted the weeks, and if I do a square a week, that will take me to, I believe, October. But then I have to put them all together. And these squares are pretty labor intensive. I mean, this first one took a lot longer than I hope the next ones will. I'm going to try tomorrow morning to sit down and do another square, and I want to time myself and see how long it takes, because this one, you know, always the first thing you're doing, you know, there's always some little roadblocks. And what roadblocked me was learning these half square triangles. They weren't hard, but I didn't have it memorized in my head, and the initial ring that you use, she doesn't use a magic loop, she uses a chain, and that was a little fiddly, and that took a little time sometimes. And then this is a join as you go, and it's not finish the squares and then join them. They're like 3/4 of the way finished, and then you join it on that way. So you can't just say, oh, I'm going to do, like, I need to make 4 of this color. So I know that there's 4 times 4 is 16. So I know I'd need 16 of these. Well, you can't make all 16 of them, because you have to join them before they're even finished. So you actually have to, in my mind, finish a square before you can go on to something else. So even to do, I think even these, the half square triangles, they're partially, you go up to a certain part and then you join it on as you go. So this, I wouldn't say is for a beginner. Get a little crocheting under your belt with some just plain granny squares, and then pick something like this up. But what I love about this is I'm a quilter, so I have tons of books and ideas. And, you know, if you're a quilter, you know that you can take half square triangles and put them in multiple different ways and get multiple different patterns. So I think going forward, this would be a really good scrap buster. And I have her book that came out, I believe it was this year. I do believe it was this year, and her name is, yeah, do I have a date on here? Anita Gibney, and she is on YouTube at Made by Anita and Instagram and all that, I believe. But I bought this as a kit. Yeah, this was 2025. And it's patchwork granny square blankets, learn to crochet, quilt inspired throws, home decor, more. And this is the book. And as you can see, even just by the front cover, there's just a lot of ideas in here. So if you're a quilter and you're a crocheter, I would highly recommend this. Look at that. Look at these pillows. And you have a lot of scrap yarn, or if you want to learn to crochet, I just think there is so much you can do with this. This inspired me a lot. And I go by the color. I like the color of this. I like the design of this. Look at that. Just beautiful. So, like I said, because I'm a quilter, I've had this book for a while. This is Quilt As You Go, made vintage. Gera Brandvig. This is when I was really big into quilting, and I did make a few things in here. But she has in this book, I think it's 50, how many two? Is it 52? Let's see here. She has 51 quilt blocks, and they're all different. And I have fabric to do this. I really should do it in fabric. But I was thinking, if you ever had scrap yarn and you wanted to make some type of blanket, you could just use all her different block squares and crochet them. And this, you know, obviously would be a long-term project, or a scrap project, but just an idea of something you could do if you like to crochet and you like that quilting, that pieced look of quilting. You could do something like this. So that's what's going on with this blanket, and I really want to get it done this year because I don't want to be sitting on it for 2 years like my last Afghan I made. It's in some of the other videos by Not a Crawl. And I can put a picture up on the screen here if you're new here and you've never seen it. But I have to make 25. They're in multiple different colors. I think it's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to start on another one tomorrow before the kids come over. So that's my crochet, 12 out of the 12 cast-ons, the Milton. And I mean, you're going to be sick of seeing these socks because I'm sick of seeing them. But I took them to knit night and I did do a little bit more on the legs, and I'm doing a double magic loop. And yeah, these are my no mind knitting. So maybe I'll bring those to the marathon because those are simple to do. That'll be my marathon knitting, getting those socks done. And that is it as far as the WIPs. I might pick up an amigurumi. Let me show you that. I would like to, someday this week maybe, pick up the Friendly Bee by Crochet Confetti. I really want to get started on her. Is she not adorable? And she's, for the time of year, she's a bee. So I'd like to pick that up this week. So I have a little bit more to show you new, hopefully. But the other projects that I have as far as WIPs going on, and I need to get to them, and I'm going to start today after I do this video, is a quilt that I've had for a long time in the wings. I had it for a long time before I actually cut it out, and I have it for a long time sitting more than halfway done. Look at that. That is called The Greenhouse by Elizabeth Hartman. This is the pattern. And it comes all in a kit. So I have all the colors. Look at these colors. Look at that. So, and there's a lot of extra too. So that's the thing with quilting. You always have a lot of extra fabric. Just like we do in knitting, we have a lot of extra yarn. So what do we do with everything? What do you do with your extras? Do you donate them? Do you just put them away and say, I'm going to do scrap projects with them? What do you do with your extras? And where do you find the time to do your sewing, your knitting, your crocheting? There's so many things I want to do, and I just can't do them all. And I wish I had the time to do them all. But let me show you too. So I have like 9 of these done. And this is what they look like, so you'll have a better idea. Here's one. So you make these strips, and they're different cactuses and plants. See that? And I think they're pretty much the same. Let me show you this one, but they're in the different colors. And then the plants like rotate. So, and there'll be some, oh, I forget what that's called in between. What is that? Sashing, I think they call it. There'll be some sashing in between. So like, let's say, see how they're kind of off-centered? And then and it almost does like a little bit of a rainbow effect. So it really is going to be beautiful. I don't have a lot of places in my home. I don't have a lot of wall space. I mean, down here in the basement I do. And I was thinking, oh, I could just hang everything down here, but no one's going to see it but me. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to give this one away or keep it here in a pile, but I just don't want it undone. So we're going to work on that. And the last quilt that I showed you was from Halloween, and I can put a picture up here. It was Vintage Kitties. I forget the name. I'll write it here, but I just took that to the long arm shop and picked out a batting, and that should be done in a couple of months. Maybe less. They're a little behind, but I just was like, you know what? If I don't take this now, it will not be done for Halloween. So I have a Halloween quilt that's at the long arm. And the other quilt that I have all cut out and ready to go, and this one I was doing with a friend, my friend Karen, and we keep saying we're going to get together one day and we're going to, you know, sew this up. But this is a biggie. It's called Inner Beauty by Southern Charm Quilts. It's 90 by 90. A confident beginner. But look at this. This I can't wait to make. I love it. But that will be, this will be very labor intensive. So I have to be patient with myself. But I think before I get started on this one, I'm going to finish the greenhouse, and then I'll move on to this. And then, if you could only see, there's other materials for quilting. So I really want to put my Saturday as a quilting day. However, once we get into the summer, it's nice to sit down here because it's nice and cool. It's in the basement, but I like to be outside. So I'm going to have to probably do it really early in the morning for a few hours so I can get outside and enjoy the weather, because, you know, in New England, you never know what the weather's going to be like. And, you know, we're still coming off the winter. They teased us, we had a tease of like a 70-degree day, and now we're back to, you know, 40s, 50s, and it's a little chilly. So, I'm going to take advantage of being able to do some crafting inside for a while. And that is what I'm going to do. And besides that, another WIP that I want to work on is rigid heddle loom. I showed this to you the day after or so when I took the class, and I think I put 5 wefts, they call it, in. And I think it's because I'm really not inspired by the colors I used. However, I think I should just finish it, get it off, so I can start something new. I've seen a lot of stuff on Instagram and Pinterest come through. And again, another good scrap busting. I saw a friend I met at Junction Fiber Mill, and she has an Instagram. I'll link her Instagram below. She's just the cutest, nicest girl. I think she teaches kids or something, but I met her a few years ago at Junction Fiber Mill retreat, and she just took a class, and she showed it on the Instagram, and she used just 1 skein of yarn for both ways. I'm going to have to ask her how many yards it was, but look at this scarf she made. It is beautiful. So, I really like to get into that. So this video, and let me get you back here, it has a lot to do with how can we manage our time and get all the crafts done that we want to do. And I don't feel guilty. I know I've acquired a lot of crafts, a lot of materials, and someone once said to me, you know, you can consider it like a library, or, you know, a collection. That's what a lot of people say. But we all say we're just going to work with our stash and we're not going to add to it. But you know that we are going to add to it. So I'm just trying to figure out if I can have like a schedule of days that I should work on certain things. However, like something like this, I mean, if I want to get this done, and then a couple of other sweaters that I have in the 12 cast-ons, I feel like I have to devote a few days to something like this. But anyways, let me know your thoughts about crafting management in the comments. And I'd like to see what other people have in mind for that. But until next week, I have a lot that I want to work on. So hopefully I have a lot that I could show you. And I hope you have a happy crafting week. And I hope you're all well. And I will see you soon. Bye.